They never look at the janitor. That is the first thing you learn in this work, and you learn it early. Executives walk past you in the corridor like you are a piece of furniture with a mop. Something that is simply there, the way the carpet is there, the way the overhead lights are there. You get used to it. After 11 years in that building, I had stopped noticing the way people didn't notice me. My name is Cal Merritt. I am a single dad to a 9-year-old girl named Lily, and for most of the working world, I am the man, in the gray coveralls with the ring of keys on his belt. I push a cart. I empty wastebaskets. I wipe down the elevator doors so the fingerprints don't show. I know every floor of that building, every short circuit in the service corridor, every slow drain, every tile that works loose in wet weather. I have known that building the way a man knows his own hands. What most people in the building did not know, what nobody thought to ask, is that I own it. Not the company on the 14th floor, not the coffee kiosk in the lobby. The building itself, all 18 stories, the deed recorded with the county 11 years ago. I bought it with my late wife, Ruth, a few months before she got sick. A long-shot investment in a part of the city that was just beginning to find itself. After she passed, I held on to it because she believed it would matter someday, and because letting go of something she touched felt like losing her a second time. I had a property management firm handle the leases. I went on doing what I did, keeping the building running from the inside, the way I always had. Most of my tenants never knew who I was. The biggest one, a regional logistics firm called Ashford and Crane, had been on floors 12 through 15 for 9 years running. Their lease was up for renewal in 30 days. I mention that detail because it matters quite a lot to what happened next. Claire Ashford became CEO of her father's company on the first of the month. I knew she was coming. I had seen her name on the lobby directory, watched the movers bring in new furniture, watched the assistants rearrange the 14th floor conference room twice in a single afternoon. She came in fast. That was the impression you got. A woman who moved at a speed the rest of the room was always slightly behind. Her first full day, she did a walkthrough. I was buffing the lobby floor when she came down from the elevator with her general counsel, Warren Fitch, and 2 assistants taking notes on tablets. She walked through the lobby like she was inventorying it. Looking at the ceiling tiles, the security desk, the service door I had propped open to air out a wet mop smell. She stopped when she got to me. "Who authorized the service door?" she said. "Not to me, to Warren." Warren looked at his tablet. The maintenance staff, presumably. She looked at me then, the first time she had really looked at me, though we had been in the same building for weeks. She looked at the cart, the coveralls, the keys. "How long does it take you to do this floor?" she said. I told her. 2 hours, corner to corner. She made a sound that wasn't quite a word. Then she said to Warren, "Get me a quote from a professional cleaning service. This should be done in 45 minutes. She turned back toward the elevator and have HR process a separation for. She glanced at my badge, Merit. End of day. We're streamlining. Warren wrote something on his tablet. She walked away. I stood there with the buffer humming against the floor. I thought about a number of things I could have said. I did not say any of them. I pushed the buffer to the side, unplugged the cord, and walked to the security desk. A walk that felt a little longer than usual, though it wasn't. I set my key ring down in front of Pete, a good man named Pete who had worked that desk for 6 years, and who was now watching me with an expression I recognized as pity trying to stay quiet. "Take care of the building, Pete," I said. Then I went to get Lily from school. She was waiting on the front steps with her backpack and a permission slip for a field trip to the Science Museum, which she pushed into my hands before I had finished saying hello. We walked 2 blocks to the hardware store, a small place I had kept running. Since Ruth's father left it to us, a separate thing from the building investment, just a neighborhood shop that smelled like linseed oil and had a cat named Douglas sleeping behind the register. Lily did her homework at the counter. I sorted a delivery of hinge sets. It was a normal afternoon. At 5:30, my phone rang. "Mr. Merritt?" The voice was clipped, formal, with a current of worry running beneath it. "This is Warren Fitch, General Counsel for Ashford and Crane. I'm calling on behalf of the company regarding the commercial lease on the building at." He read the address. I said I knew the address. There was a pause. You're the landlord of record?" I told him I was. Another pause, longer. I could hear him doing the math. "Mr. Merritt, the lease on floors 12 through 15 expires in 30 days. We haven't yet received a renewal offer, and I want to make sure we're moving in the right direction on this. Miss Ashford is eager to." "Tell Miss Ashford I'll be at the shop tomorrow morning," I said. "She can come by before 10. I gave him the address. He read it back to me carefully, as if he were writing it down with both hands. Lily looked up from her homework. "Who was that?" "Someone who needed a reminder about something," I said. Douglas the cat shifted on the stool behind the register, tucked his nose under his tail, and went back to sleep. Claire Ashford arrived at 8:47 the next morning. I saw her through the front window, a woman in a charcoal coat who was clearly not accustomed to walking into hardware stores, looking at the hand-lettered sign above the door with an expression that gave nothing away. She stood outside for a moment longer than she needed to. Then she pushed inside. The bell over the door rang. She looked at Douglas, then at the bins of hinges and the spinning rack of key blanks, then at me behind the counter with a cup of coffee and no particular urgency on my face. She did not say good morning. She said, "I owe you an apology." I nodded and let her continue. She was not what I had expected, standing there in the store. In the building, she had moved like someone assembling a case. Here she looked like someone who had just realized the case had a hole in it. She said she had acted without full information. She said she understood if I had concerns about the renewal. She was direct about it, and I gave her credit for that. I let her finish. Then I slid a single sheet of paper across the counter toward her. I had typed it up the night before after Lily went to bed. 1-year renewal, I said. Rent goes up 4%, same as it's been every cycle. One condition added. Your company hires a full-time in-house custodian. Health benefits, a living wage. The building gets maintained properly, and somebody gets a decent job. I tapped the paper. That's the whole thing. She read it. She read it again. That's it, she said. That's it. She picked up the pen I had set beside the page. I watched her sign. Her handwriting was sharp and quick, the signature of someone who made decisions fast. When she set the pen down, she didn't hand the paper back right away. She looked at it for a moment. How long have you owned the building? She said. 11 years. And you work there every day. I liked the work, I said. I know that building better than anyone. I still do. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, is the position still open? I looked at her. The custodian position, she said. The one I just signed for. Is it open? It will be when I post it. I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know, she said. I want to make sure we get it right. She picked up her coat. My father built that company for 30 years. I'm still learning what I'm inheriting. She paused. I think I fired the wrong person yesterday. You hired me this morning, I said. She almost smiled. She tucked the signed paper under her arm and walked to the door. The bell rang. She was gone. Lily appeared from the back room a few minutes later, where she had been listening with enormous patience and her permission slip still unsigned in her hand. Was that the lady from your building? She asked. She's still a tenant, I said. Lily considered this. Is she nice? I thought about it honestly. She might get there. Lily handed me the permission slip. I signed it at the bottom, next to the line that read parent or guardian, and put it in her backpack for the morning. I picked up my coffee. The store was quiet. Douglas had migrated from behind the register to the top of the seed display and was watching the street outside with the expression of someone who owned the place, which in his mind he probably did. I have heard people say that moments of vindication feel like thunder, like something break open. Mine didn't feel like that. It felt like a Tuesday morning in a hardware store that smelled like linseed oil, a signed piece of paper in my hand, and my daughter asking if she could feed the cat before school. Ruth would have laughed at the whole thing. She always said the building was going to matter someday. I don't think she had this in mind exactly, but she would have liked the part where the keys came back off the security desk in the end. Which they did. Pete brought them over himself the next afternoon on his lunch break. He set them on the counter without a word, the way a man does when he's returning something that always belonged to you. Take care of yourself, Cal, he said. I told him I planned to.